What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing good. I'm Anthony K. Thomas, and welcome to Wrestling with Rumors. Welcome, everyone. So, before we get into everything that is new this week on Wrestling with Rumors, like I say every week, every rumor that I am about to read to you is exactly what it is. It is a rumor. We can speculate as wildly as we want, but until it is proven true, a fact, either on television or said by the person the rumor is about, is true and confirmed true, then it remains what it is, a rumor. So with that, let's get into everything on a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. So WRKD Wrestling seemed to hint that Gunther could be the guy in plans to retire Brock Lesnar next. Could be in plans to retire Brock Lesnar next. So there has been some talk, some rumors that possibly in 2026, besides being AJ Styles' final year, that it could also be a retirement year for Brock Lesnar as well. And if that is the case, I feel that if Brock Lesnar is also going to retire next year, and it's Gunther that they're looking at, this would add so much more credibility for Gunther as earning the name the career killer after retiring both Goldberg and John Cena, both at Saturday night's main event. I feel that this would be at WrestleMania, but I feel like the credibility and the power, and there's so much that adds to Gunther if he's the one that not only faces Brock Lesnar in Brock Lesnar's final match, but is also the guy to beat Brock Lesnar. Now, I feel like with Brock Lesnar, his last match would absolutely be at WrestleMania, whether it's at WrestleMania 42 or 43. I feel that Gunther being the guy to retire Brock Lesnar, and especially with the name that he has earned for himself, the career killer, absolutely. I mean, back in the early 2000s, we had Randy Orton as the legend killer. So for Gunther to have this name, the career killer, it's growing on me. It's pretty cool, and to see what Gunther how they're using Gunther, how he's been pushed. To see him be the one, I could absolutely see him be the guy that would retire Brock Lesnar. Just add to that name, the career killer, just to add that to his line of careers he's killed, taken in Brock Lesnar too. Wow, that'd be a hell of a thing. Self-made pro claims Gunther versus Brock Lesnar is planned for WrestleMania 42. So there you go. If that is the case, if Gunther is the guy that is planned to retire Brock Lesnar, it could very well happen at next year's WrestleMania in Vegas. So, but that would be that would have to be. I feel that would have to be a night one main event match. If it's going to be if you're retiring Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42, Gunther versus Brock Lesnar, I feel that has to be a main event. Although at WrestleMania 30, when it was Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker, and Brock Lesnar was the one to defeat the streak, it wasn't a main event. So it necessarily doesn't have to be a main event. But then again, WrestleMania 30, it was only one night. We didn't, the 2 nights of WrestleMania is still fairly new. But y'all know what I'm talking about. If a night 1 or a night 2, possibly for a main event like this, or it could be the match before the main event. I don't know. It would have to be very deep in the card. A Gunther versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42 would have to be fairly deep into the card. I don't see it being that early of a match where it's just like the first or second, third match. It needs to be like a 4th or possibly 5th match, depending how many matches they're going to do at WrestleMania 42 in the first night and the second night. Sometimes it varies. Sometimes night 1 is more, and sometimes night 2 is more. So But we'll see. But Gunther versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42, I think everyone is definitely up for, and probably would root for Gunther in this case. This would be one of those cases where people would probably be rooting for Gunther over Brock Lesnar, possibly. Dave Meltzer said that those backstage within WWE were impressed by NXT stars who were featured on the show, Saturday night's main event, and they see Obafemi, Sol Ruca, Javon Evans, and Leon Slater as superstars. Absolutely. Now, Leon Slater, in TNA, X Division champion, I absolutely see, and I said this on the recap episode for Saturday night's main event, that Leon Slater, I feel that Leon Slater is getting some of the same kind of treatment that Joe Hendry got when Joe Hendry was a part of TNA at the time. That you've been seeing a lot of Leon Slater lately on WWE television. I mean, especially him teaming up with Javon Evans. I mean, those two make a hell of a tag team. But Leon Slater being featured on the solo tip on WWE television, on NXT, has been great. He was part of Deadline, which was crazy. It was like, but I mean that in a great way. And then also being part of the Fatal 4-Way match to determine who will face Obafemi for that NXT championship at New Year's Evil. And then Leon Slater being the #1 contender, winning that Fatal 4-Way, going on to face Obafemi for that NXT championship at New Year's Evil. He is getting that same kind of treatment that Joe Hendry got, that I've seen him on TV a lot, on WWE TV a lot. There is no question in my mind that when Leon Slater's contract is done, that WWE is going to absolutely try to snag him up as quick as possible, if they're not already paying attention to the length of time he has left on his TNA contract before bringing him into NXT. But I absolutely see Leon Slater a future WWE superstar. Absolutely. Starting out on NXT, and then within like maybe a year or 6 months on the main roster. I absolutely see that for Leon Slater. And then with Sol Ruca, Javon Evans, and Obafemi, how we've seen them on SmackDown, and then Javon Evans being on Raw this week, these three absolutely are main roster ready. I mean, you look at Sol Ruca defeating Bayley at Saturday night's main event. You look at Obafemi. That was a win. I feel that Obafemi could have absolutely won that match against Cody Rhodes had it not been for Drew McIntyre ruining that match. And then Javon Evans, also just killing it. He's gotten a win. He's gotten like 2 wins on SmackDown, and he's got a match coming up against The Miz. Not on Raw, but on Friday. This coming Friday on SmackDown, Javon Evans has got The Miz. So these all three of them. You look at Sol Ruca, Javon Evans, Obafemi. These are 3 that I could absolutely see on SmackDown. I see Obafemi a little more on Raw, mostly because I really want to see that match between him and Gunther. And that would be it. That's my main match, right? That's like a dream match for me right now that I would love to see at this moment, is Gunther versus Obafemi, just to see what those two. You got the ring general versus the ruler. Those two I just want to see. I mean, Cody Rhodes versus Obafemi, that was a hell of a match, and I would love to see them run that back again, this time without interference. So yeah, all of them. It's just I could really keep talking about this and keep going on it, but I'm gonna, for the sake of this week's episode and trying to keep it between 30 and under minutes, we're gonna keep going. WWE officials confirm next month's Royal Rumble will start at 2 p.m. Eastern per WrestleVote and Fightful Select. that would mean a 10 p.m. start Riyadh time. So for us, now I live here in California, West Coast, Northern California, here in Santa Rosa, California. For us, that would be around, I want to say around 11. Around 11 o'clock in the morning for us, which means the pre-show would be at, pre-show, especially it's Royal Rumble, it's like 2 hours. So the pre-show for us here in California on the West Coast would be at 9 a.m. and then 11 a.m. is the show. And then for the East Coast, we're looking at a noon. So noon for noon countdown show. And yeah, so a morning edition of the Royal Rumble. Not a bad thing. Afternoon, actually, for morning, afternoon for us here in the States on the East Coast and the West Coast. But a very late night for those in Saudi Arabia. It would seem that 8 o'clock at night for a countdown show, and then 10 o'clock for the start time for the show itself. Based on how long the Royal Rumble can be, 3 hours. Oh man, it is a late night for those in Riyadh, but they do not care. They're up for it, and it's an afternoon, early morning, into the afternoon for us. So not a bad way to spend the Saturday. I like that. I like that for us. Next one. Royal Rumble is currently planned as a 4-match card, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter. There will be 2 championship matches in addition to the 2. It's just under 2 months away. So 2 Royal Rumble matches take up a significant amount of time. 30 men, 30 women, and then a few regular matches. So I feel that you got you have obviously 2 championship matches. So you'll have the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship. So you have the 2, I think it's 2 championship matches, and then the 2 Royal Rumble matches. That's your 4 matches right there. So you would start the Royal Rumble with the women's Royal Rumble match. Then you would have two back-to-back championship matches. So you would have the WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, either one first, and then the men's Royal Rumble. Now, it could be that this is interesting. It could go this way. It could go women's Royal Rumble, okay? And then after that, then you got the World Heavyweight Championship match. Then you got the men's Royal Rumble. Then you have the men's WWE Championship match. And then after that match, the winner of the Royal Rumble comes out and stares down the... Of course, then again, that's just laying it up. That's a layup for saying who the winner of that Royal Rumble is. So, and that you want to save it, you want to build up the suspense for it so that you get there slowly. So it could be the first way I've said it, where it's the women's Royal Rumble match first, 2 WWE Championship matches, men's Royal Rumble match, call it a night, or afternoon for us. It could go that way for 4 matches. Just throwing out there, seeing if it sticks, but we will see. We will see. Despite reports of how impressed WWE officials were with Obafemi, Sol Ruca, and Javon Evans in their recent main roster appearance, Brian Alvarez told his ex-subscribers, I had been told at this point nobody has been called up. I think all call-ups in NXT, minus Lash Legend, because I think Lash Legend was the final call-up from NXT this year. I think more call-ups, I think there'll be a significant amount of call-ups from NXT in 2026. And a lot of them will probably go to NXT since there's no longer a WWE draft, which really sucks. I miss that. It was so much fun. I personally had fun watching the WWE draft because that the suspense, the who from NXT is going to Raw, who from Raw is going to SmackDown, who from SmackDown is going to Raw, who from NXT is going to Raw or SmackDown. It was so fun to watch. It added to that, the picks, it was fun. It was fun to speculate when they advertised the draft and who was going to go where, and they don't do that. They just show up. So it just is what it is on that. I just missed the draft. I hope they at one point bring it back because it was so fun. I had so much fun watching it. But as far as call-ups for 2025, I think they're done. Unless they sneak one more in a Trick Williams. I think all call-ups will happen in 2026, and I think mostly that'll happen. There'll be a lot of call-ups that will happen after the Royal Rumble. Like there'll be those who will probably be called up will show up in the Rumble. I mean, NXT talent, regardless, always shows up into the Rumble lately, and I love seeing that. But the added bonus is those who were from NXT that were in the Rumble and stick around and stay on, and you see them show up on Raw or SmackDown, and they're just there now, is a nice added surprise. So I think those from NXT who will get the main roster call up will be part of the Royal Rumble, and then we'll get a real confirmation of what brand they end up staying on when we see them showing up on a Raw or a SmackDown. So I think all call-ups are in 2026. Absolutely. WrestleVote Radio says WWE is making a documentary about John Cena's retirement tour. The documentary is expected to be released on Peacock in mid-2026. This shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, I figured as much as most that we would get a John Cena documentary, interviews, behind the scenes stuff that kind of like unfiltered in a way, but like just hearing like everything that went into that entire year of 2026 for John Cena, and looking at the behind the scenes stuff, what was going on, and the aftermath of it. And then especially getting to the end, and after how all that went down backstage at Saturday night's main event will be very interesting to watch. So absolutely, and I'm sure I feel like we're gonna get excited and a little bit emotional when we watch the trailer for it. But I am not surprised that a documentary is coming for John Cena in his retirement tour. Really quick, speaking of link in my bio for this one, for my latest blog edition of Let's Talk Wrestling, I did one on John Cena. It's called The Last Run of John Cena, as I comb over what was the retirement year of John Cena. Excuse me. The retirement year of John Cena. If you wanna check that out, link is in my bio for that if you want to check that out. The Wrestling Observer newsletter claims that talent from both TNA and AEW, who recently contacted WWE, have been told they aren't looking at hiring new people right now. This is because WWE has plenty of wrestlers in its developmental system who are ready to perform on Raw and SmackDown. Hold on one second. That being said, WWE's apparent hiring freeze doesn't apply to guys the level of Chris Jericho or Leon Slater. I'm going to allow that to speak for itself. I don't feel that does not require for me to have a response to that. That speaks for itself. If you want to add anything to this particular rumor, go ahead, leave that in the comments. Moving on. F4W's online Dave Meltzer was told that a few WWE stars will be taking time off to heal up so they are ready for Royal Rumble through WrestleMania 42. I love that. I love that WWE is allowing some of their stars to take some time off, heal up, and get ready for what is going to be a crazy and bumpy and twist and turny and left and right and up and down road to WrestleMania when it kicks off at the Royal Rumble. So allow them to heal up, have them enjoy the rest of the year off, maybe a little bit of 2026, and they come back and they're fresh and they're good to go. So it's definitely a different WWE, because a WWE with Vince in charge, and back then this wouldn't have been able to happen. So the fact that this is happening now, I love that. I love that. Meltzer also mentioned that Raquel Rodriguez has been cleared by WWE following some concern that she suffered an injury on this week's Raw after Nikki Bella threw her head into the steps. Nikki Bella came in with a vengeance. Nikki Bella just came in with a wrath, just laying people out. She is nowhere near done with Stephanie Vaquer and getting her hands on that Women's World Championship. And I think it's going to happen for her. Absolutely. I feel that in 2026, Nikki Bella is going to be the Women's World Champion. She wants that World Champion. She wants that one last run as champion. She going to get it. She going to get it. She going to kill her way to get it, but she going to get it. Believe you me. Anyway, that'll do it for this week's episode of Wrestling with Rumors. I really have nothing else to really talk about. This week. I will have something to talk about next week, but this week I just wanted to keep it all about the rumors, and that's what we did. We kept it all about the rumors. So until next week's episode of Wrestling with Rumors, I hope all of you have a good, fun, and safe week. Hope you have a Merry Christmas. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all new episodes of Wrestling with Rumors. And my daily show, Rumor of the Day, drops Monday through Saturday. And while you're watching these videos, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. And I will see you all on the next one. Peace, y'all.